We're starting a project on this sexy girl this morning. Nice little 450. Looking good. Still got a little shine to it. Got the Sims on. We're going to be pulling the bed. We got a little work to do back here. A little wiring. A little fabrication. We got the lift set up. I'm picking it up from the top because, as you can see, we flattened the front, but we got this wedge cut back here. No real good place for the pads of the lift, so we went ahead and decided to chain it to the stake pockets. So we got a few things we're after. We got a bird nest of these lovely things. Y'all don't do that to yourselves. You just shooting yourself in the head earlier than you thought. We also are going to try and fabricate a cool little winch mount for an electric winch for winching stuff up and down on the trailer. Some lights and some power options in the cab. A few other little doohickeys and whatnots. So let's get on it. See what we can get. We see if we can get this bed off. I started fooling with it last night, looking at what we're after. Dropped the fill neck, and problem's gonna be is the 3 bolts down each side that mount the bed to the truck. The first 2 in the front came completely out. The second 2, the nuts came off. The bolts are stuck in the hole, and the last 2 I can't get a wrench on the head because the fuel tank's in the way. So we're going to see if we can figure out a shortcut to that real quick. If we can't, then we're going to drop the damn tank and move on with the project. We're going to get this bed up where we can pull this forward, do some wiring on the truck, and do some fab on the bed. All right, let's get into it. All right, kiddos, we got underneath the truck. We cut some bird nested goofed up wiring, and same thing in the back. We did not film a couple of galded bolts that we had to cut because A, you couldn't see it, and B, we had to apply a liberal amount of colorful language in order to get them off. So in order to keep this PG, we had to, y'all get the point. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go to Zip Ties and Bias Plies for a little while. All right, we're going to try and lift this up and see if we can test the torsion strength of everything that we forgot to cut off. So we're going to try and go up with the bed. I'm going to put y'all on time lapse, and we're going to see. Well, we'll just leave it on. I'm going to let it roll. Alright guys, let me update you on where we're at. We've cut out a bunch of unnecessary wiring on this one. Please don't do this. Trust me, you're gonna save yourself some headache. These clips, if you need to use them in the cab on something like radios and speakers or something that's not essential to getting your butt home or safety, fine. But man, outside the cab, they just don't last. And anyway, we're going to be cutting a bunch of this off later. This is the harness that goes to the bed lights, and then this piece of boat harness here is going to the lights up there. I'm trying to hide the camera. They're right there so we don't hit you in the face with the sun. It's been a couple of days, so let me get over here. What I have done here is isolate the circuits. This blue tie is my left side, turn signal, running lights, everything. The orange jumper and the duplicate browns and blacks go to the other side of the truck bed harness. And there's two separate circuits. There's a truck circuit and a trailer circuit. So this is all the trailer circuits. We got all this was all combined together. So we got that done, laid out where we can test everything. And this is where they spliced in with the same BS clips to go to the gooseneck hitch. And why they didn't just run from the back to the gooseneck hitch and have one splice, I don't know. On this particular one, since they did tie into the actual trailer circuit here, and I'm going to have to come in and cut these quick crimps out. I forget the name of these because I don't ever use them, but you know, they've damaged the wire. You can see spots in the wire that's burred, and this one actually cut. So we're gonna be replacing a bunch of that anyway. So while I'm doing that with heat shrunk connections, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a little pigtail sticking out of each one that we need to go to the gooseneck, and we'll have that set up for later. And that also will eliminate having to have the truck harness, the bed harness, the overhead light harness, and the 7-pin harness in the back all tying into one thing. We're gonna have a lot of business back there anyway, so we don't want to throw this in the mix either. Again, you know, we're trying to unscrew a bunch of goof ups. Now I have a little test light down there on the ground, just a little license plate light. I'm having trouble with the backup light circuit, and that's the last circuit I need to fix before we can move on. And all of this will just cut, you know, we'll be able to cut the rest of the little quick clips out and just go all back together with this. But I have some fab to do on the bed, so I figured I'd get the electrical all ready to go, and then we can back it up under, and it's just butt connectors. But I have a theory on what's going on with the backup light situation, so I'm going to get into that and show y'all what's going on with that here in a minute. It's kind of interesting. The rest of this I didn't want to show. Wiring is boring, and you know, we just been eliminating useless redundant wires, kind of letting the wiring harness tell us its story of what needs to be done, and you know, cutting out a bunch of crap that's just in the way, that's not even being used anymore, and streamlining it. So that's what we're working on now. I'm going to get to the backup light circuit here in just a second, and give y'all a little update on that. I'm just showing, well, okay guys, this is what I was fighting earlier. Don't mind these two wires, they go to a different sensor. This is the reverse light sensor. It's two wires. Alright, the light colored one, light blue something or other, light blue pink is coming from the front, bringing power, and pink black is going to the back of the truck. Now I have a light rigged up right here that has a wire going all the way to the back of the truck, and it's hooked to hot and ground. So here's my confusing part. So I take the test probe, you can see the light right here. Okay, it's showing red, which means we're getting voltage. So that's our power supply. When the switch is in reverse, it connects these two and it's supposed to send juice to the back. Well, this is our open line going to the back. Now if I send power with the power probe, you can see the light lighting up. So if I send it, the light lights up, and that's all working fine. I thought it was the switch on the transmission, which I'll show you, but with it in reverse, it ohmed out good. If I take a jumper wire right here, and this is what started to confuse me, and jump these two, now watch your light. I got a jumper wire in here, no light. So what's happening is, in theory, this blue-pink wire is frayed somewhere up in the harness and barely connected. So it's got enough juice to register 12-volt power, but it doesn't have enough to send a load, because when we go to the back and send power, we got our light again. So I'm going to test my theory by putting my light on the blue line, seeing if it'll power, which I'm sure it won't because it's not doing it the other way. And then we're going to just abandon that and run a new hot wire to the back. That way we got power. Alright guys, we got a ground coming right here. We got, oh, this is hot power. What's weird is, you put a load on it, you can see from the red light right here where my finger is, we're seeing green, which means ground. All right, now watch. We're not lighting up the light. Let me put y'all right here and unhook it, and we test it, and you can see red. So that's our theory. We're gonna abandon this blue wire and we're gonna run another hot. Alright guys, we got Tristan in here doing a little cleanup before we put seats in, and we just did our little test down here under the truck for the reverse light. So what I'm gonna do is, I ran it was a blue with a pink wire, so I went ahead and ran blue in here. I'm gonna do a where is it? I'm gonna do an add a circuit, throw a little fuse in there, and since the reverse lights ain't gonna be drawing that much, we'll tap into seat stuff. So what I did is I ran a wire hot in the ground underneath the front. We came out here and then jumped across to the far side, because the two new seats each have power seats, so that's going to bring power to both sides. So while we had the seats out, we tucked all this wire underneath there and all that. So we're just doing a little cleanup, working our way forward, and I'm trying to get out the way before Tristan's ready for me to help him put front seats in and do the cleaning here. So, and then I'm getting ready to go underneath the truck, and I'll show y'all the reverse switch and my plug situation for that. Okay guys, this is looking under the truck. There's a drive shaft in the back of the transmission looking forward, and this is a ZF6, and that red thing right there is the reverse switch. It's got two wires in it, and the plug looks like this rascal here. So I got this made up with my my alternate battery source, and I'm abandoning my original blue-pink wire that we're not getting power at. So for a test run, we're gonna plug this up Let me see if I can do it with y'all being able to watch. It's not gonna be routed right, I don't think, but let me see here. Let me swap hands. All right, let's see where we at. This one's like this. Okay, so that's on there and seated. All right, and what we're gonna do is, all right, that's on there and seated. I hit the wrong button on the camera. I don't know if it messed y'all up or not. And I'm gonna route this wiring better, but for right now, I'm just gonna plug it in. We're gonna get our battery plus power from, or add a circuit, and we're gonna test it out. We got a little, our little test light in the back hooked up, so we'll see what it does. Let's get the add a circuit in. All right, here's our test. So we got our add a circuit added up in here. I just added it to the number 4 glove box lamp fuse. And it was a 20. I went upgraded to a 20. Now the red wire here, this will be the ground, and I'm gonna put it right there to that ground. I just got to put an eye on it, and that will be for our seat line. But for right now, I'm gonna put you guys over here, and y'all can keep an eye on this light for me. And let's see, I'm gonna turn the key on and put her in reverse. All right, there we go. And also, I'm gonna bring y'all around to the back while I leave it in reverse. You know, we talked about 2 separate circuits on this truck, on, well, all trucks. A trailer circuit and a backup circuit. And so we're on the trailer circuit with the big heavy ground. We'll clamp our test light onto that. And while we have our reverse lights on for the truck, there we go. We got reverse lights on the trailer circuit. This gets feedback from the transmission switch circuit and activates a relay to come down this circuit. So once again, all we had done here, just to straighten it out, is separate our trailer light circuit from the truck light circuit, and these are shared. You really only have one shared wire. You'll see a little branch off. This is actually reverse, left and right turn and running, and ground to go to this side and jump over to those. A lot of times when they get cut, you think you got extra wires, but anyhow, we got this circuit here, and we're jumping off with just the, all we needed from the right side, the passenger side truck circuit, is to use our right side turn signal. We got running lights and backup lights and everything here. So that takes care of this. We will be putting a beeper. Let's get that going. Alright guys, we have a light bar. I don't want to pull the whole thing out right now. Just trying to keep it in here and wrapped up till it's ready to go on. So as you can tell by these feet, this is just some rubber feet. It's made to sit on the roof. They have some tension brackets that go here that hook the edge of the roof, but we're not going on the roof. He wants to go on the headache rack right up here with it. And so what we did is we took some pieces of aluminum, make some 3/8 mounting holes, which will mount like this, and then we're going to take the screws out of those rubber feet, and we're going to make bolts with rubber feet and keep all that, and we'll have these up here like this, and one on that side to drilled and ready to bolt on and get in. So anyhow, we'll get those drilled and put on and see what goes from there. know if that's the right way to do it, but that's the way we did it. So we got our light bar, we got our ball of wiring right there, but we'll deal with that a little later. And again, this one was set up with rubber feet to sit on the roof, and we wanted it on here. So we just took our little aluminum, bolted it down there with some 3/8, 1/4 inch on the, replaced the screws that were sitting flush here with some quarters and some lock nuts. And that's gonna call it done for that one. All right, well, I think we're gonna get on to starting to do a little bed fabrication today. Let's see where the day brings us. All right, so what we were asked to do by the customer is we're rigging up this bed for kind of a multitask setup where we can have an electric winch right here to be able to winch. Like you gotta go retrieve a truck, you got electric winch up here on the bed, you can pull, winch a truck up on the trailer, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna leave the trailer hooked, and that way we can have control of the trailer and winch the truck up. So what we're gonna do, we got, you know, ribs every so often here. I'll show you on the underside in a minute. We're gonna cut a hatch, kind of like the gooseneck hatch, right up here, and it's gonna be between rib 2 and 3. And we're gonna tie into the second rib right here with a vertical receiver hitch, which will be for attaching the winch via you know, a receiver hitch set up kind of like down here on the bumper. And so we're gonna give that a try, see what happens with that. We also got to get into power for the winch and power for something else in the truck I'll show you later, and some running boards and stuff. So anyhow, let's get in it. So it's easier to see on the bottom with the ribs where you need to drill, where you need to cut. So what we did is we went right up against this rib, and 16 inches apart we put drill marks so we could see, transfer everything from the bottom to the top. Over here I went 1 inch off of the rib and made a mark. Alright, and then what we did, the rib is 1.5 inches, so we wanted to go 1 inch to the rib and then 3/4 for an overlap, so that'll give us something for this hatch to sit on. So basically you're going to have a little, you know, 3/4 inch strip right here of angle iron underneath that'll support it, and we can put some angles this way to support the sides too. So now we got our marks to cut it out. We went ahead and measured off and dinged the hole. Later on we can drill this either on the workbench or up here, one way or the other. We'll drill this to get our finger hole to be able to open her up, and we'll have to cut a little bit off of this to facilitate the hinges, and that'll be it. So we're gonna get the grinder out, we'll cut this out, and then we got a little center weld right here we'll have to cut out from underneath, and then we should be able to knock that out and make our changes to the hatch to facilitate the hinges. We want it to lay flat and lay flat there. And on the other hinge, on the other hatch, let's see here, you can barely make out right there and right there. They just use some hinges, barrel hinges in there up. So if you got a pallet or something, you're sliding it across the deck, it wants to catch right there. And you're always gonna have a little something humping these things up. So we want to keep it as flat as we can. So we're gonna use a little, what I do on the other flatbeds, a little double piano hinge set up, and then that gives us a real sturdy hinge for support and keeps it as flat as we can without, you know, without creating too much of a hump. It's still gonna be a 1/8 inch hump, but it's all you can do. All right, so we're gonna get on cutting the hatch out. Alright, now that we've got our hole cut, what we're going to end up trying to shoot for here is we're going to take this, I kind of alluded to this earlier, and it's going to sit in there. We're going to cut off this lip, probably going to clamp that in there and mark it, cut this off flush with this so that our lid will work, and then measure how far down. We got 3 inches here and I think 4 inch more on the runners for the bed, so that'll give us, say, roughly 7 inches we can come down without interfering with the tank. And then we'll have to remark once this is cut. That's going to remove this hole because this will be sitting further down. I already kind of marked and put a scar right here for this hole, but once we cut this off we'll have to remark that because it'll be a little further down, which is good. I don't think we'll have enough. Let's see. Yeah, we won't. I don't believe we'll have to cut this. So that way we can have this in there. We'll be able to open our hatch, drop this in, pin it, and we'll have a receiver right here basically for the winch. So we're gonna mock that up, see what things look like maybe get the winch mount bracket involved in this, because we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do here as well. Either we're gonna take a cut off and weld it up, or we'll make a pinnable collar. I'm not sure yet. All right, let's see what we're gonna do. Alright guys, let's see. So we trim this down. I'm gonna buff this up just a little bit. Watch your ears. Alright, now since we cut a little bit off of here, the mark that I made right here for our drill is going to move down some. So let's see, instead of right there, it's going to be right here. So I want this to sit on here. So we're going to hold this. We're going to take this is a 5/8 pinhole, so we're going to take a 5/8 drill. I'm just going to keep a bind on this so that it doesn't wiggle, and I'm going to use the hole as a guide and use this to center it. And I just want to make a spot to ding it. And that's all I'm trying to do. And since I held it from the back on the last one, I'm going to held it from the back on another one. Held it back. All right, let's see. All right, and I'm going to double check this. Yeah. So on the other one, I'm gonna color it black, and that way it won't be as noticeable. I don't go goof around. Put it in the drill press and drill different holes. All right. This one looked like it came out a little different, so we're gonna redo it. All right. So this needs to go in the drill press and get drilled with 5/8, and this we're gonna clamp down in here. Now, I'm not worried about this pin, you know, losing a little height, because we're gonna be doing a side load and not an out load. So we're gonna clamp this in and make some marks on this to determine where to cut that, put that back in the bandsaw. Alright, so again, we got this centered. We want to come kind of 45 off of these. So I cut a 45 here, and then I held it up and notched a bird mouth to where we get about a 1/4 inch in, and this will fit. And we may end up having to go up a little bit with this to facilitate the same bird mouth coming from the front. Yep. Alright. But we'll see. Okay, the mouth needs to be opened a little bit. And the vertical needs to be cut back a little bit, so let's see. Alright, let's see how that trimming worked out. Alright. What I'm trying to do, since we centered and everything's the same distance, once I get a left and a right, we should be able to mirror them to the back. And if that's the case, then when we come here, this is the one I just did, which is supposed to come from the back. Yep. So that one will mirror that one. So while I go over there, I can fab these all up. Alright. That should work. This morning we're going to get on finishing up this hatch, and we're going to put what I usually do, which is a double piano hinge, in order to let it lay flat all the way down without too much ridge. And so basically this is upside down, which says your thumb hole here. So we're going to hinge it on this side. Well, this is actual 16 by 16 for the hole. We're going to put a hinge across here, so we're going to have to shorten the lid up to fit the hinge. And what I do on the hinges, this is a piano hinge you can get from a welding supply store or parts place. you know, if you put it like this, you've got this big hump right here, and of course it would lay flat, and then you got this ridge. So what I do is I flip it over, put it like this, which gives me a smoother surface. You still got a little hump, but it keeps everything pretty much flat. Problem is, when you fold this up, the length of travel that this has, now you got a door that's sticking straight up. But we're going to cut this hinge in half. We're going to double it up. So this hinge will hinge to this point, and we're going to weld the lip of the second piece of the hinge here, and that'll let it lay down on the deck. So that's how I do hatches. It gives it a smooth, clean look. So luckily we had exactly 32 inches of hinge material in the scrap bin from the rented mule project, the little winch truck. So that's going to be perfect. We cut it dead in half, 16 inches each. We're going to drill a few holes in it, make some plug welds, trim it to fit the hatch, and put it together. So I'm going to go throw this in the bandsaw. I'm not going to bother showing y'all that footage. The bandsaw is not tremendously exciting. So let me go get this cut, and we can put the hinge together. And once the hinge is together, then we can figure out on how much material we've got to take off the hatch. Put some marks. We got this cut in two, so we're gonna double them over like this. But I got marks at 4, 8, and 12 inches on both sides of this hinge and one side of that hinge. We're gonna mark let me get the right Sharpie here. And this is 1.5 inches. So we're gonna go we'll go 3/4. And alright, that's where we need to punch our holes. So I'm gonna dimple this and drill them in the drill press, and then we'll set them up for plug welding. Alright, so we got our holes drilled, and again we're gonna have, let me see, show you how we're gonna lay this out. Again, this will be we'll have to shorten this out, but we're going to get all this welded together first and make sure that we get a true measurement. So basically we're going to have this going over here, and it'll be plug welded on the bottom, which will be the top. This one we drilled on both sides, so it's going to be spot welded here to mount the hinges together, and then here to join it to the bed. And that's the simplest way to get a fairly flat hinge. It's not 100% flat, but it's a lot better than having a whole barrel sticking up. A little easier to get things over. So I'm gonna get the welder out. We're gonna put this together, and then the width of these two barrels will be the amount we got to cut off on the hatch. So we'll just use a cutoff wheel and buzz that off. Alright guys, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. Sorry about that. We had somebody come up that needed a hand with something and got me preoccupied, and then I got to going again and realized I wasn't videoing. So let me catch you up. Aside from the cross bracing we got under there, we put some 1-inch angle pieces along here to give us a lip for the hatch to sit on. You can see our plug welds right there, and this should be drying up. And so that's how that hatch does. Got our plug welds kind of sanded down on the top, and so we can, let me move this out the way, and we can just catch it, and there she goes. And then, like I said, you didn't miss much. And we got this piece, which is gonna angle out to the back, and then we're gonna have to trim this because I don't want that long, but we'll probably take 4 or 5 inches off of it, cut it up in here somewhere. This is how far the neck of the plate for the winch sticks out, so we can go back as far as we need to and cut this off. So we're gonna make a few, make it pinnable, and that should be acceptable to that. And then we'll put the winch together and everything. I do have we got some wiring and all that to do, but I'm gonna throw a little black paint on this, let that start drying so that's not causing me trouble. And we got some holes to drill here and some pieces to cut and fit, and then assemble the winch and wire everything up. Should be the end of it. All right, let me get back on that, and I may get some footage of that. It's just gonna be band sawing this and drill pressing, so I'll probably just skip ahead and show you all the final fit together once we have this and the this is the Harbor Freight Badlands winch, receiver winch mount. So we're gonna have that set up on here, and so that's where we're at now. Let me get some paint on this and we'll move on. Alrighty guys, I got the plug figured out for the winch. Got it sitting up on the bed. Let's go up underneath. Oh, alright. So we took the winch lines, the power, and we put an Anderson plug on it, and this is the best way to get a good setup. Now, I just did this on the Andersons on my rented mule project, so if you want to see how to do these, but they're pretty much plug and play. And then we routed our lines up. This is our gooseneck plug for the gooseneck bay. So we routed all of these cables up and dropped them down, and once the bed is set in place, we'll be able to get our distance to where they are going to connect. And then in a little bit we're going to be doing wiring. So this is this connector here, which splits off and does everything on the back. This boat trailer wire here is going all the way up to the front and goes up to the headache rack. And let me get back here. Back doesn't want to bend this morning. You can see right in there on the headache rack. We got a left, a right, and a backup light. And of course we also have the wiring that's going to go down from the new light bar we put up top. Let me come around here. So we're just putting a little bling on the old girl and whipping her into shape. We did something cool. I'm just seeing these wires right here hanging out. Tristan put these running boards on, and originally they're set up to have a front and a back light right there and right there. It is hooked to the dome and is a white light. We decided it'd be cooler to put ambers in there, tie them in to the harness right here. We gotta fix some mess in this middle of this harness right there. So while we gotta re-splice this wire and a few other ones, I figured we gotta get in there. We'll go ahead and run it off the running lights with the ambers, so it'll be like chicken lights. So we got that to do. Let's see. Let me fold. Let's see if I can fold this with one hand. We're putting a 6 kW inverter back here, so I'm working on coming through the floor with battery power for that. We have our new box mounted. We got to mount this. I don't know if this thing is teetery. I have to see if it, I'm not sure if that's even supposed to be on a manual transmission hump. And we swapped these seats out, put some better seats in, and so that's what I'm working on in the back. Tristan over here is doing some simple little installs on some plug and play Chinesium aftermarket headlights that are supposed to be for the 99 model truck, 99 to 04. It just doesn't fit. I mean, everything works good, it just doesn't fit. So we're modifying, trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit again. So anyhow, and when we go to put the bed back on, we're gonna probably drop this tank out of here, because there are bolt holes right there and in the back, right past the fuel lines, and you can't get a wrench to the back side of them because of the fuel tank. So we're probably gonna have to pump out the tank and drop it when we bolt that on there, because I'm probably, once we get the wheel well centered on the tires like we want, then I'm probably gonna weld those nuts in on the inside. But we'll see how that goes. We got a little more rat killing to go before we get there. I'm not showing all the wiring, and this is not really a how-to. It's just, you know, letting y'all kind of follow what we're doing. I took the shorter hot leads that we had, hot and ground, and I had just enough to get to from the front to a tie-in spot right here, which I'm going to get down there and show you. And then this, once the bed is back on the truck, I'll be able to get my measurement to cut that. So let me get under the truck and show you how I ran hot in the ground. And before I get under there and show you that, we coming in here just to show you, we put a kill switch. Anytime I'm running those big power cables, I like to have them able to be shut off. So we're going to have a jumper that'll stay hot from the switch to the hot post, and then when you want to use the inverter or the winch power in the back, you just come kick this on and you can kick it off when not in use. All right, let me go under. All right, so we got the fuel pump right here. If you follow it forward and see daylight, that's where we ran it. I lifted the battery box out and the battery box, air cleaner box out to run this where it wouldn't get chafed. We got the hot end loom, and of course the ground doesn't really matter. And we zip tied it down our harness, and we put some insulated studs right here, and so that is going to be our split point. We're going to have these two feeds. Let me back up here and get out the way a little bit. Alright, those two feeds are going to tie into these feeds coming from the bed. And again, once the bed is sitting on here, I'll be able to get my hard measurement and put ends on the bed. And I think we're going to use this grommet right here to get our hot and negative into the inverter so that we don't have to drill any holes, and then they'll just drop out. So we'll have battery feed coming in, inverter going up, and then battery feed continuing to the back to where the winch is located. So that's how we're going to do that. And I have tried the little Allen head 3-ways, and these just seem to me like they give a better connection. You know, you can bolt the hell out of it, and you know, it's heat shrunk. If you have the one where you just jam the stripped wire in and Allen head it down, you either got to put some solder on there or some copper wrap or something, and it's just a pain, and moisture and all that gets in there. So this, I think, is just a little better way to do it. And again, you can split 3, you know, 3 off of here. Sometimes you got to take the backup jam nut loose and just take it off rather, and give yourself enough room to stack however you need. But we're going to have these 2 coppers and then a thin one, so that ought to do it. The project at hand this morning is assembling, let me see, this Harbor Freight Badlands winch onto this Harbor Freight mount, receiver hitch mount. It's not too bad. Just a few pointers. It's kind of hard to read some of the instructions. On the one I did on the winch truck, we put these on the inside, and there's 3 holes at the bottom to clock the arms, so we just use the center hole. And this taper right here is for these tubes, so you want that convex facing in, I guess. So these just drop on. You got some little lock washers. Now, I thought about this. I'm putting these on, and I didn't know. I was thinking it'd probably be wiser to put them on and then snake the winch in, just for ease of the bolts, but that may or may not be the case. I don't remember how I did mine, so we are gonna wing it. I'm probably gonna leave these loose where I have some flex to wiggle them around. And another thing, these long ones go through these and through here to make your handles, so save those, and these little black washers for that. And these are winch guide roller fair lead mounts. So I think I'm gonna have to hook that. I'm gonna have to run that winch lead out a little bit and get it through here. All right, let me figure out how we're gonna get this winch in here. All right, so we have just enough slack on here to get this into the fair lead right here at the edge. So I have her in disengaged, and we're gonna see if we can pull without, let's see. Damn. That will give us that. All right, I need to I think I'm gonna run a piece of tape around this, keep this tight. Because I want that to stick out just like that, so that we can feed the fair lead and keep all of this all together. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna get us a piece of duct tape. Yeah, so again, all I'm trying to do is You know, when you take the weight off, like this is hooked on the end of the table, the coils are pretty tight. You go lift that up and it's going to want to pull itself in. So until we get it stuck through the actual fair lead, it's going to want to be giving us some trouble. So we're going to, what you can do is you can start at the end and you can walk the slack out of this. We'll get a little bit more, which will just help. There goes my tape. So there's a little bit more. We'll back this up and let the table hold it. All right. And of course, we got the non-tearing duct tape. Let's see if we can get us a little wrap on this. Damn it. Alright, well. I think I got it figured out. So you got, not sure exactly what these are, probably for the fair lead. And we've got a, what I believe might be a ground screw. We got some square nuts, which are gonna slide right in these holes right here, which will be good, because you do not have to you don't have to hold back up on them. So let's see, we're going to take this and we're going to give this a shot. Let's move this out the way. Alright. Now let's get this. Okay, first mistake I see, you got to put the square nuts in the holes first for this little trick to work. So alright, square nuts going in. Because you will not be able to get to them. Now let me see, I need a little. Need to scoot this one over a little bit. There we go. Should be pretty good. Alright. Now we can come over with this. Alright, 4 holes line up. And I'm guessing these things are galvanized, so they're a little rough, and looks like they're gonna want these directions. I tell you, everything that comes from overseas has the most pitiful directions ever. You can have kind of done this before and you still have trouble following the damn directions. Okay, let me grab a socket for this before I go put this one in. Get this last one in here, get him started. You know, it always fascinates me. You listen to the, you know, these winches are, you know, so many. This one's a 12,000 pound, and there's only 4 little bolts carrying all that load. And when I'm over there fabbing up supports and stuff like we were doing underneath the truck, you know, you're trying to make some real beefy stuff, and you realize when it comes down to it, it's just these 4 bolts carrying all that load. Ratchet and check that, because I want to make sure that battery sounds a little low. I'll make sure they're tight. I'm going to check and see. I'm not trying to get them gorilla tight. I don't want to strip in here this Chinesian bull crap. Alright. So, we got that on. That goes there. And these, to be determined. We're going to have to flip this bad boy over. And then get her back up. Oh, damn it. Alright, well, we got that on. I guess it's time to buzz these. Let me see. My table was getting away from us here. Alright. I don't know what the hell. I don't remember what we did with those black screws the last time, but I ain't worrying about it. I don't remember what they're supposed to fit on. Alright, so we got all that assembled. Should be able to buzz it all up. Let's see if, and of course, we got the wrong thing there. Okay, so we need a 17 for that. But for right now, we can run up. Let's see. I need a 17 wrench. Alright, now we're ready. We got our 17. Get her on the right stem. And you just gotta fiddle with this and line it up. Get to the fair lead here. Sorry about that, guys. Had somebody come up. Had to talk to them for a minute. So these two Allen head bolts, I just took some pliers and started the little lock nut and the bolt back there, and then tightened that down both sides for the fair lead, and got the hook on. I gotta bend that cable. And then on the back here, if you don't need to relocate the box, everything is here. You already have this long hot wire right here that's wired into the head. You have this little ground which has to go right back here, and then it comes with a long ground. And what I would recommend is put a little bend in it like this, and then that way it fits on here like that. And we're going to put some we'll nut that down and zip tie this, and I'm going to put Anderson plugs on the end of this, so that way we can plug this in and move it around. I'm going to locate the Anderson plug in the well where we put the hitch, and that way in this configuration sitting on top of the truck bed, it can plug in the hitch. If you're winching somebody out and you don't have a trailer, you can put the winch down here, and we'll still have enough power cable to get in there. And if they ever decide they want to put one on the front, we can do it on the front as well. So we'll have multiple options with that. So we'll cut the eyes off and wire that in, and you know, run it to the front and tie it into battery power. Well, guys, we're gonna turn off the lights up here, give you a little reveal of this truck. Let me put you down for a second. So I'll put you in the dark. It's getting late. We have rain coming tomorrow early in the morning, and this truck needs to get the hell out of here. So this is not going to be as sexy as of a reveal as pulling it out and getting it done, but I got tools on the bed, and we'll pick that up in the morning. But this may not be here another night to get the shots. So here's our amber lights that we hooked to the running lights. So they're like chicken lights now on the bottom. I'll turn around and catch the back view. And then we got our new headlights with the LED stripes in the center. Of course, all the multi-functions of the flashing lights up there. And here's our chicken lights on the side. Let me get over here, kind of away from it. I know we're shooting through stuff, but y'all just gonna have to bear with me. So that's her. Alright, we're gonna go through what we did in the morning. We did the winch and everything and the lights and all that, and bunch of rewiring is boring as all get out. Alright, we'll see y'all in the morning. We'll get this thing wrapped up. If I don't get a final shot of this rig because of the weather and it needing to get out of town, then we'll just close it up now. That's enough of that for right now, guys. We're going to get on to the next project. Hit me up if you got any questions, comments. Tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, what you want to see, and we'll see if we can implement that. Other than that, that's going to be it for tonight, and we'll see y'all on the next one.